Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, DwyerVIP.com for premium picks on Roku, and thanks for making the Roku channel a success. Dwyer Boxing, private channel. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Let's talk about this mess that is ongoing in Australia. Simply ridiculous. For those of you keeping track of the France Botha Sonny Bill Williams debacle, right, understand that Botha to this day maintains that no one told him that the fight was a 10-round fight and not a 12-round fight, right? Now, of course, we know without a doubt that the fight was advertised as a 12-round fight. If you listened to my earlier video, you heard that the WBA, who had a minor title at stake in this fight, normally doesn't allow 10-round championship fights. It normally has to go 12 rounds. A viewer did tell me correctly that the David Haye, Derek Chisora WBA dust-up was a 10-round fight because that's what the parties themselves agreed to. Let me just say, with regard to that David Haye, Derek Chisora fight, we knew before that fight took place that it was a 10-round fight. We didn't find that out at the end of the 9th round as the fight took place, right? In fact, if you go back and look at the videos here online, we actually talk about the fact that the fight was announced for 10 rounds before that fight took place. Here, you have a completely different situation. France Botha is claiming that he confirmed with the referee before the fight that the fight was a 12-round fight. The ref, of course, has no comment right now. The ref is the same person who told the parties, apparently, at the end of the 9th round, that it was going to be a 10-round fight, not a 12-round fight. Also, there are conflicting reports. The judges apparently weren't told that it was only a 10-round fight. They themselves thought it was 12 rounds. Now we're hearing some conflicting reports on that. Let's just say it's a mess, because now we're even hearing that the WBA did not have anyone at the fight. There's a question on whether it was even a WBA sanctioned event. Now we're also hearing that France Botha somehow failed a pre-fight drug test. Apparently Botha didn't have one banned substance in his system, according to the test results. He had two. Curiously, one seems to be an upper. The other seems to be a Valium-type substance, a downer. And of course, now we're hearing that that test might not have been an official test, because apparently in Australia, the Australian boxing body did not conduct the test. Now Botha is claiming that it was a confidant of the manager of his opponent, Sonny Bill Williams, who conducted the test. All I can say is, folks, stuff like this doesn't happen in baseball. It doesn't happen in basketball. It doesn't happen in American football or in soccer, right? This is uniquely a boxing story. Once you hit a certain level of absurdity, you understand that it can only be a boxing story. One thing is certain, that situation in Australia is an absolute mess. You have different people making different claims. You have the boxing body themselves having different versions of what happened. Apparently the Australian papers are all over it. One thing is known, though. When Sonny Bill Williams was giving his post-fight interview, fans were booing, because the fans expected the fight to go 12 rounds, and they thought, quite frankly, that Sonny Bill Williams was getting lit up at the end of the fight. And of course, as Botha himself says, he couldn't see Williams surviving one more round, much less two. Botha has vowed to file an official protest. We'll see what happens in that debacle. Okay, let's talk about a fight that I think you need to know about. It's a toss-up fight, folks. I don't know who's going to win the fight. I don't want to be here online pretending to know who's going to win the fight. It's on the undercard of the Adrian Broner-Gavin Rees fight. Now, that fight, I'm expecting Broner to win, and I'm expecting him to do it by KO. But in the undercard fight between Vicente Escobedo and Edner Cherry, that fight's wide open. My advice to gamblers is that because this is an evenly matched fight, if Cherry comes in as greater than a 2.5 to 1 underdog, which he might, right, because Escobedo is the known fighter. If Cherry comes in at greater than a 2.5 to 1 underdog, my advice is to take him. Because, number one, Escobedo is coming off of a terrible fight in which he got dominated and then got stopped in the 5th round by Adrian Broner. Now, if there is a time to take a world-class fighter, it's after a debilitating loss, right? He's got to be doubting himself more than he would after a win. Also here, he got hit repeatedly with left hooks from Adrian Broner. Keep in mind, too, let's dig deeper in Escobedo's past. He got dropped by a left uppercut by southpaw Robert Guerrero, right? Escobedo seems to be prone to getting hit with left hands. Now understand, Edner Cherry throws a cherry bomb, he calls it. He's very good with that lead left hook. Take a look at his fight against Timothy Bradley, a fight that went the distance, just like his fight against Paulie Malignaggi. Understand, this is a guy who has been in the ring with world-class competition and who has gone the distance with world-class competition. You'll notice in that Timothy Bradley fight, Bradley, who's excellent defensively, gets hit several times in the 1st round with Edner Cherry's left hook. It's a good left hook. Also, Edner Cherry wasn't there to dance. This is that rare opponent against Timothy Bradley who actually had Bradley backing up in the fight. Edner Cherry's a guy who fights on his front foot. He comes forward, right? I believe that's exactly the kind of fighter who gives Vicente Escobedo problems. Take a look at the 5th round of his loss to Adrian Broner. Broner decides to come on his front foot. Escobedo starts to fall apart, ultimately getting stopped, right? I believe that Cherry has the kind of mental attitude, right? He's a front foot fighter who's going to get his, who's going to throw a left hook, who's going to try to empty the gun. I think he has exactly the kind of mental attitude, and I think he has exactly the kind of arsenal to make this a fight that's more competitive than the casinos are prepared for. I think this is the fight of the card. Understand, the Jonathan Banks-Seth Mitchell fight has been postponed because of an injury to Jonathan Banks, right? Let's hope HBO shows this fight as part of its televised set. Let's hope it does, because I personally don't believe that the Broner-Gavin Rees fight is going to go that long. So, let's hope HBO shows this fight. Edner Cherry is a hungry fighter. He's been in, quite frankly, with better than Vicente Escobedo, right? I believe Timothy Bradley's a better fighter than Vicente Escobedo, and he's going to bring it to Escobedo, right? Also keep in mind, when Escobedo steps up in class, Casillas, Guerrero, Broner, he typically comes up short. So here he is against the favorite, coming off of a knockout loss. I think this fight is closer than the mainstream media does. I hope you give it a look. I think Edner Cherry is a live dog against Vicente Escobedo. Don't take it unless he's a 2.5 to 1 underdog. That way you'll get compensated for the risk. Let me hear from you. Leave your comments for me here online. Visit us at gamblersadvisory.com. And thank you for making Dwyer Boxing on Roku private channel a success. I did notice that a lot of people have installed that channel. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.